What is going on, guys? Today we are looking at the most meta goalkeepers, if there is such a thing, in FIFA 23. So we are yet to receive the final team of the year, which is going to be Courtois. I believe this should come out as they are actually announced, and we do have technically the stats from him, so we know full well, I believe anyway, that we know what he's like. I'm going to double check that before we move any forward, but I know we've actually seen the rating of him, so we do know the sort of levels that he's going to be. He might be 0 stats, so we don't know. Yeah, we've got 0 stats, but we do know Courtois is the 96 rated team of the year goalkeeper, which would put him at the top. Personally, he is the highest rated goalkeeper that you can currently get, and most definitely one of the most sought after that most people will pack if you are going to pack one team of the year. It's normally the easiest one to pack, but by no means is the easier one to get. We have got Butland to start with as a 5-star. In general, Butland's always been that nostalgic keeper, back from his Stoke days, whereas now we're kind of getting into a Nick Pope sort of vibe. Butland still remains one of the keepers that I do see very regularly. We have two of them in Ederson and Alisson, both of them very, very similar in what they can do. They both have pretty much the same sort of kind of styles. Obviously Ederson's more kicking related, whereas obviously Ederson is more throwing. So again, well, no, other way around. Ederson's kicking, Alisson's throwing. But they both have rushes out of goal and also comes for crosses, and both of them are the same rating. So again, Brazilian, 89, goalkeeper, Prem. You can't get much similar than that. But in general, both of them do give the same sort of vibe. I personally I still use Ederson for quite some time now, which I think is 125. And then we do use Alisson's World Cup card for pretty much the entire of the World Cup to get links. So we have used both, and both of them, for me, did the same job. Made some good saves, some errors every now and then, but most definitely in terms of golds, and very, very cheap golds as well, coming in at a nice price. And I can imagine if you get him anytime after or during Team of the Year upgrades, they should be necessarily cheap as chips. Are you tired of using players like this? I would much rather have teams more like this. Then I recommend going over to skycoach.gg for all of your coaching and coins needs. They are cheap, fast and reliable, but at the checkout make sure you are using code JT11 for a discount on your orders. Back to the video. We then look at another card that last year was absolutely phenomenal, mainly for his Team of the Year version. It's going to be Informed Donnarumma. Again, with a big height of 6'5", coming in with obviously some very nice stats as well. Comes for crosses and rushes out of goal. I think for me, them two traits are two of the better ones you can get. The one that I'm always looking out for, which I don't think any of the previous have, and I don't think anybody else in this list, I'll double check now. No, they don't have it. So they don't have Cautious with crosses, which I think are on some of the keepers that I have seen below this list, just purely for the fact that I just think that is somewhat of a hindrance at times, because the comes for crosses is always good for them corners, them obvious through balls, them brilliant kind of crosses that the keeper could really come out and grab it, rather than letting the person have the shot and hoping either they save it or it goes wide. Beating them to the ball is always #1 priority, and I think Donnarumma does that really well, and obviously has some very good stats with it. And then personally, one of the most meta goalkeepers, we've gone in rating order at the moment, but I think one of the most top-end meta goalkeepers we've seen in the game so far is going to be our man Van der Sar. If he manages to get a Team of the Year icon or anything alternative based or just in general upgrade, that will really set a precedent for him. And I think other than Courtois, he would be my #1 if I could pick anybody. Obviously, coin-wise, I don't really spend too much on goalkeepers, as I think there is a certain limit that a goalkeeper does do. If you're going to just get passed around a lot, then obviously there's no real point. You could put a bronze in there and they won't save anything different. The only thing they do is them hit shots, them random kind of finesses. They do have that element. 6'6" with a Van der Sar, obviously coming in with some solid stats. Speed was something that I really thought in keepers mattered a lot. I'm kind of finding that that is semi-okay and semi-not. We obviously have the goalkeeper long throw, team player coming for crosses, doesn't have the rushes out of goal, but is still a very, very sought-after choice in terms of a goalkeeper. Most definitely, the mid is normally always picked, but you can get him from the start of the game. So in terms of kind of people having him, there is more chance of right now people having the Van der Sar mid/base rather than the prime, which we've only technically had 1 to 2 SBCs for. But I think in general, Van der Sar is normally the most meta goalkeeper. In terms of icons, he normally surpasses anybody, in my opinion. And one that's made an honourable mention. In terms of honourable, Martinez. I think in terms of the card, the best thing for him is the fact that he's free. He's obviously got a nice, well-rounded stats, some very good traits, to be honest. Solid player, leadership, throw, comes for crosses, as well as team player. I think the fact that he's free always is a big bonus if you do finish the objective, and if you're not willing to buy a keeper, maybe you don't want to do icon upgrades, and to be honest, who wants a goalkeeper from the icon upgrade? But this guy is absolutely free. If you don't get Team of the Year Courtois, give this guy a go. Genuinely, some of the stats are looking very nice. I like the traits. Obviously 6'5" as well. Still a very tall goalkeeper. Argentinian for them links with the Messis, with any of the team, with the World Cup cards that obviously have the nice dynamic. He works really, really well. So it was just kind of an extra mention. We actually haven't used him yet, so we're interested to try and get him into the team and give him a shout. We only use Ederson or Alisson at the moment, so before we get Team of the Year Courtois, he most definitely is a shout to go in net. And then obviously with Courtois at the moment we can't see the 96, but in general normally if I look at Team of the Year goalkeepers, they have incredible amounts of speed. Everything's pretty much on the 93 and above. I could imagine Courtois as the gold is very, very top end. I do think gold wise Courtois is normally the best that you can get. Team of the Year, it's always going to be incredible, and I think he has had Team of the Year before, hasn't he? He's had a Team of the Season last year, the one before. This is actually the first Team of the Year that Courtois has ever had, which is nuts to think. And I think in terms of Donnarumma, Alisson, Ederson, Neuer, Courtois would likely be my favourite in a Team of the Year, so I'm hoping that we do manage to get him. And then if they want to cheekily throw in any of the other Real Madrid players, I'm absolutely all for it. But in terms of gold, he's still very, very top end. Even if you don't want to necessarily give Martinez a shout, then definitely give the Courtois gold a shout. And especially with all of these Real Madrid upgrades that we're getting, can definitely put in a shift in that goalie role. Then we have one of the cards, unfortunately, I got in the past couple of days, Prime Casillas. To be honest, he normally doesn't make my list. But this year, I don't know what it is with him. We've obviously got long throw, saves with feet, comes for crosses, and team player. But what really kind of extra did it for me, we used the mid version for about 100 games on the second channel, and that guy was outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. The saves he was pulling off was beautiful, more than the regular keeper, and we actually gave him more than 2 to 5 games to actually give him a go at it, and he was absolutely beautiful. So this card with the upgrade on top has to be just as good. He's got obviously the traits, 6'1", so a little bit smaller than the goalies that we have been looking at, which again I sometimes think could be another metric that really affects goalies, but most definitely this year there is not as much separating goalies as you think, so it is kind of preference. It is more preference based than anything, but most definitely you've got to give yourself a helping hand at some point. And then the final one is going to be our man Yashin, 94 rated. The cap does everything. If we did manage to get a Team of the Year version of him, whether that's out now or potentially in the near future, or if we get an alternative, then this guy would again be one of the top rated keepers. I'd imagine that they'd only go 95, so that the Team of the Year goalkeeper is technically still the highest rated, or they equal him, because Yashin, as I didn't know, won a Ballon d'Or, so potentially has got the most amount of credit to go get it. Obviously Casillas was in Team of the Year in the FIFA era, so again that could be credit for him to potentially get one. But Yashin, again, we've seen him in a lot of drafts, seen a couple kind of mid to prime versions in Rivals and Foot Champs recently, and I think in general he's always done quite a nice job, but I think in terms of price might be a little bit expensive compared to the rest of the list. But that is going to be the list of the meta goalkeepers. We will have another ranking of all of the goalkeepers in the next couple of weeks, so stay tuned for that. Make sure you like and subscribe, and let me know if any of these goalkeepers are in your team. Let me know in the comments. Make sure you like and subscribe.